Good morning. I was actually thinking about streaming this morning, but decided I would just do recording, and if I didn't like how it ended up, wouldn't be a big deal. I do believe I have an alarm set to go off at 6:10, so that would be a good stopping point for me. But yeah, I uploaded a short yesterday where I was talking about those ghosts and getting my son those crochet kits. And this morning I am back to work on the birthday blanket. I actually hadn't worked on it in over a week, which is not typical for me. Typically what I have been trying to do is finish a whole color band at least once per day since I started it. So it is a pretty nice length at this point. And I'm not too far away from actually finishing it. I think I need to make 3 more of each color band. I'll have to measure it again, but last time I measured it, it was around 60 inches, and I need the length to be at least 80. So, but pretty good progress so far. I realized, I'm pretty sure that the maroon and the burnt orange is like, I think it's Texas A&M colors. I'm not a big college fan, but you see those colors enough when you live in Texas. So I feel like that's their colors, but again, I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that maroon and gold, just maroon and gold, are the Texas State University. So I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking about that. But I'm up earlier than I have been in recent memory because I'm going to be getting my kiddos from my parents this morning. And I live about an hour away from them. And my boss set up a meeting for 9 a.m. today, which means in order for me to get the kids and be back home in time for the meeting, I would need to leave at the house no later than 7, to be there by 8, to pick them up and immediately turn around and leave, because of course it's morning traffic, and getting out of my parents' subdivision in the morning is terrible. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But because I know how bad it is to get out of their subdivision in the morning, I'm going to be leaving the house at 6:30. And I wanted some time to myself before I did that, before I spent 2 hours in the car. And so, crochet. Yeah, we've been super busy the past few weeks. And I've been doing about the same amount of crocheting. I just haven't been finishing anything. I've been making progress on a lot of different things, but I haven't actually finished anything large lately. Last night I finished making 6 ghosts in a jar. I wanted to have a total of 60 to give out for Halloween. So that's like my minimum, and then my maximum is 100. So doing 6 in one day is good. That's 1/10. I'm going to try, in the days that I work on them, try and do 6 a day. But I've prepped a lot of the caps already, and I have been making the little ghost shells, the little ghost body shells, and then I will just finish them up, adding them to the lid. So like, here's a ghost shell that I made yesterday that wasn't part of the 6. So he's got to get his stuffing in. He's got to be put in the jar to see if he fits. In fact, I have one up here that was a test jar. It looks icky because of the glue It kind of looks misty though, like fog has risen up. So I don't know, but I think he'll fit okay. I can't tell now. Let me push this in real quick. 1 second. Come on. So I don't want this getting caught on the sides. Okay. So I've shoved the things in. There we go. Let's see if he'll fit. No, he's a little, this yarn's a little bit too big for the size I made. I did a 7 instead of a 6. So that just tells me I'm going to need to do a 6 for the next one. I might take a little bit of yarn and weave it in and then cinch this in to make him a little skinnier so he'll fit in and out easier and still float and not touch the sides. But now I know. It's been a lot of trial and error with those guys. And the first few I've already given away. And let me tell you, they are a hit. What I would like to do is on some of them maybe make accessories, like maybe a little bow tie or a little hat or something like that. I think that'd be cute, but then I probably have to use crochet thread for that, and I really kind of don't want to. I'm thinking a bow tie might be my best bet because I do have enough yarn and it also would be small enough, I think. So I think I can just make a little strip and then sew it together. Like a little strip of black and then just turn it into a bow. Like a little tuxedo clip-on bow or something like that. Little suave ghosts. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I wouldn't be able to make a lot of them. They'd be probably select few ones that I would give out. Not as Halloween trick-or-treat things, but yeah. Yeah, it's nice being able to at least finish the little things ever so often. And I'm still making progress on all slow but steady progress. I'm working on my work in progress items at least once per week. So I've worked on my brother's cat blanket, working on the pixels for that. I'm working on the ponchos for my daughter and son. I'm working on this blanket. I'm working on my heritage blanket. I'm working on my son's beaded blanket. And then there are 2 other projects that I'm working on right. Well, there's the baby blanket that is almost done with its last color square. Excuse me. And then there's a purse sort of thing that I'm working on with a purse base. I did a Suzette stitch, and so far it's looking really nice. I'm at the stage now where I'm thinking about how to do the finishing and then how I want to add like the clasps and do the lining. So I think it'll be good. Okay, so I've got that one going down there, which I think is fine. Yep. All right. That was round 3 of the maroon. So coming back this way will be my last maroon one, and then I'm going to switch it up for a little bit before I have to go. And we'll probably switch over to listening to something, which means I'll have to turn this off anyway, unless I listen to royalty-free music. And some of the royalty-free lo-fi music that I like to listen to, well, I wouldn't say I like to listen to it. I listen to it because it's royalty-free, and I don't have to worry about any copyright strikes if I have it playing in the background. But a lot of times it's not as good as I would like. There's There's one lo-fi channel I like. Unfortunately, lo-fi is definitely difficult to find some that are not AI, so, you know, is what it is. I actually don't know if this one isn't. Oh, no, yeah, here we go. How was this made? Made with AI. Sounds or visuals were altered or fully generated. But it's by their name on YouTube is /no. But it's a hot meowfie, so coffee. It's a cat with headphones on in front of a cup of coffee. This is 80s Tokyo funky lo-fi playlist. Relax and chill and study too. I mean, it's just pretty basic beats and guitar chords that you could put together. At least they're not doing vocals. That's something that is a dead giveaway for me when I'm listening to Spotify, and Spotify's like, here's some bands you might like. I've been able to pick out 3 different AI artists, and as much as I like one of their songs, it was just the first couple lines are so glaringly AI generated to me that I can't hear anything but that anymore. So I just removed it and I blocked the artists. Because, I mean, I get it. You want to make your money possibly the easiest way you can think of, which is passively through Spotify streaming. It's not a lot of money, but if you churn it out at a high rate, eventually you'll have the numbers, right? But if I'm in Spotify, I'd much rather make sure that my listens are going to people who are putting in a bit more effort. It's like you got to be careful with crochet patterns nowadays, especially if you're a new crocheter and you don't know how to immediately spot those AI generated images. There's something about them looking too neat, too perfect. There's no fuzzies coming from it. And then you can almost always, it's like a dead giveaway with the little stuffed animal patterns. When you look at their eye and the stitches seem to go around their eye, you could do it in crochet, but there's not a single pattern I know of that's at least popular that would do that, because that is an extreme amount of effort going into something that people aren't going to want to pay the money for its value. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but why bother? Unless you're making like an art piece, that type of attention to detail is not typically expected or required from a crochet artist. Like, you working around, you put the safety eyes in where it makes sense to, and then you move on with your life. You don't make a partial head and then make a section specifically for the eyes, for the safety eyes to sit, you know. No. But yeah, it's there are quite a few people complaining yesterday in various crochet groups about it. I've also noticed, just in general, a large uptick in AI content bots. People, like, there's this meme group that I was a part of on Facebook that I actually had to leave because it was so bad. I don't know what happened to the admins, or if the admins don't care about the AI generated content, but there would be this, they would have just recently joined since like late June. And it would be like, ever think, ever wonder, ever have those days. It almost always started, like, their post would always start with like the same 2 or 3 words. And then it was like, you would be like, oh, let me click on more and see what else is there. And it would be very formulaic. you would have this like problem, right? And then here's how this person had this problem, and here was this person's solution. And boy, doesn't it just get you down or lift you up, or whichever emotion they're trying to get you to go for. And then after that, they'll have this same format of these like screen grabs, either from Twitter or from Tumblr or from Reddit, and it will be people chatting or replying, like a little text exchange conversation. Now, most of the time it's Tumblr, right? And then at the very bottom they'll have this little watermark of their name, and it's like, dude, you took someone else's content, someone else's conversation, you ran it through AI, with probably a prompt like, oh, look at this interesting thing, can you write me a Facebook oriented post that is best for driving traffic and high engagement, blah blah blah. And then it spits it out like, oh yes, here's what you need to do. That particular formatting and probably very similar prompts have been proliferating quite a bit in the crochet groups I've been in. Someone will go to Reddit, they'll take a picture, like take as in steal someone's content from a few years back, and they'll drop that into, you know, I don't know which one, chat, or probably not Claude. If they're doing stuff like this, they ain't paying for Claude. But like, oh, give me something that'll really drive engagement, a heartfelt story, and my struggle with crochet, and blah blah blah. And so you'll end up with basically the same formulaic post there, where they're like, this is my first time ever crocheting, and it's a complete Parisian tile blanket done with a 3mm crochet hook and superwash wool or something crazy like that, right? And this is my first blanket, you know, I started with a chain and then it took off. And I've said it before because it just really annoys me, but they'll be like, oh yeah, I got diagnosed with brain cancer and I decided to start crocheting. And then it seems to go one of two ways. Either someone was incredibly supportive of them and told them great, profound words of wisdom that they're now sharing with us as they talk about this blanket, or they were ridiculed and why are you even trying and you should just give up. And then at the end they're like, well, that person's now my ex and here's this beautiful blanket that I got out of it, and here's my words of wisdom that I discovered while doing this, you know. And it's not only are you stealing the content of someone who actually made it and passing it off as your own, but now you're almost making light of real issues that are facing people every day. And like, I'm not being, what is it? Hyperbolic? I don't know. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, yes, someone did actually post saying that they had been diagnosed with cancer and that they took up crocheting, and the nurses were super supportive, and it turns out that it was a stolen blanket that was made like 3 or 4 years in the past by someone for a wedding or something like that, and it was not their first blanket. So it's very frustrating. Very, very, very annoying. See what time it is. All right. So I'll give this a few more minutes. Maybe I can make it to the end of the row. And if I can make it to the end of the row, then that's great. I've got my stopping point for today. On this blanket. Because I always crochet before I go to bed too. It's just really relaxing. almost done. Four, 5, and about to do 6. And what I like to do here, I have the colors right up here. Wow. I was like, how is this joined together? These are 2 different balls. Huh. It's like, what did I do? Oh, excuse me. This is one of those days. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this with a pretty good, a little bit over the length of my my hook, so I have a decent amount to begin with. And then this is the last stitch, the last yarn over pull through I would do to complete this double crochet, and I'm going to complete it with this color. And then once I do that, I actually grab the tail end, do 1 loop, pull that tight, then flip back and do a normal 2 chain to start my double crochet here. Just helps, I feel, keep it a little bit tighter. And then I'll do a couple stitches to just sort of cement it on the off chance that I do drop stitches when moving it around. Just make sure that looks good. Yeah. So I'll probably do 1 or 2 peaks. That's weird. No, it's because I pulled that too tight. There we go. Not that that's a bad thing. Oh, I'm sorry for the string. We can move that real quick. That's good enough. 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so I'll go up, do 1 more peak, and then try and call it quits. I get into this like almost zen or flow state where I don't know how to explain it. I think only other crocheters would know, but let me get that mouse out of the way. I'm sorry. That like the feeling of the yarn, I don't know, maybe I'm just super sensitive, but I can feel the yarn when it glides off of this hook from this hand, and then feel the yarn coming through here, and there's like this I don't know, perfect harmony or balance between the 2 feelings, the slight vibrations on the hook and then the smoothness of the yarn from this hand. But it's just perfect. Very harmonious. And occasionally I'll get into those where I'm just like, just scratches that part in the back of my brain that I like. It's like, yup, this is perfect. Almost like when I eat crunchy foods. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, I need to stop. I need you to stop. I just kept going. That's okay. It started very well, so I'm not worried about it popping off or whatever. But yeah, yesterday I was able to finish the white one. Today I finished the maroon one. Tomorrow the burnt orange. But here's where we are right now with the length. That's a pretty good length. So it should be done soon. Soon. And I think one of these days I'm going to make a sideways. Like, the problem is, you know, it's going to be done soon, but I think I overbought on the yarn. I know that's crazy to hear a crocheter say, but I thought I had gotten the yarn right based off of what I did to make her grandson's blanket, but yeah, definitely pretty sure I overbought. Fortunately, I bought it during their yarn sales, and the way that Hobby Lobby does it, at least you can return it as long as you used a card. They can look up all your transactions. So I'll be able to return them because I don't need that much more yarn. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.